Namatu Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening. So today is Wednesday, the 26th of August 2020. This is Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen. Good evening, Karina, Margaret, and everyone. So, tonight I was told not to go online and speak, and I was asked to get a rest. So, those members realized me the resting would not be happy, torturing myself. However, I feel not comfortable, so I'm here with you all to be a part of the evening. Particularly today I was strongly suggested to take a rest and do not give a talk for a couple of days. So being a little bit stubborn and a little bit of courageous to be with you all on this night. So today also the half moon. So if it's in Thailand, there will be the Patimokkha practice, Patimokkha recitation, and also today my preceptor, Somdet Pramaha Rachamangkalachan, who's the abbot of Wat Pak Nam, where I became a monk, his birthday, 95th birthday. The people and monks are visiting him and paying respect, and I really miss. After a long time, I had a chance to pay respect him on his birthday last year when I was staying in Thailand for 4 months retreat. And this year, having seen those pictures, I feel really, feel like I want to be there to pay respect. Lom Po is 95, pretty old, but still looking at the pictures, fine. He's still happy, and healthy. So I wish him good health and happiness. So we were talking about the Eightfold Noble Path. On that Eightfold Noble Path, I have spoken on 4. Now we go on a 4th. So started from right view, right and then right thoughts, and right speech, and now right action. And on the right action, yesterday I was talking on the first one, which is the first component of the right action, and that is not to kill. And what is the difference between not to kill in the 5 precepts and in an Eightfold Noble Path? And in Eightfold Noble Path, I mentioned that it is not about the training ground or training not to kill, but it is abstaining completely, because it's a path for the liberation that one has to practice abstaining or avoiding it completely. Because killing or harming any other beings or even oneself is because of the fear and hatred. Hatred and fear is the cause that one person would commit any harming or killing to another people or another person or another animals. And the practice of this Eightfold Noble Path, in the Eightfold Noble Path, not killing is rather than generating this fear and hate, we basically developing the sense of the kindness and peace, and that we can practice by being mindful. Now, being mindful of the thought of these, or a mental state of this hate and a fear that arises. People crushes animals or insects because of the fear that they may come and bite you or cause you trouble. And sometimes they simply hate, and that's the cause of this killing and cruelty. But very moment when you practice mindfulness, when there is a sense of this fear and hate generates, you need to be mindful of that state of the mind. And it is not easy practice, and yet we have to constantly practicing it in order to understand our own state of mind, which is hate and fear. And also the more we become mindful of it, gradually our mind becomes softer, and kindness develops towards others, and that also can be observed too. But sometimes people think that we need to practice a loving kindness or practice of compassion towards others. But most of the time, because of that state of desiring to do something, they can be very extremists and become too extreme in that way, simply having a thought of practicing a compassion or a kindness. That's why when we look at the Buddha's teachings, we find that Buddha is introducing through the negative form not to kill, which is more like when you are practicing not to kill, and that produces the positive sense or a state of the mind. And these, as you become mindful of your sensations, as you become mindful of your mental state, that moment you will be able to observe towards other beings. When you see other beings, how you become a fear and how you generated the hatred towards those creatures. And in those moments, if you become mindful of that mental state, and you see that those moments, the sensation in your body and the sensation in your particular chest or the heart, so-called, will be very different sensations arises. And when you look at even your in mental state, you find that the burning sensation is there, and your mind is kind of a screaming, or there is a sense of frightening state of the mind, and that when you are mindful of it, will be able to be aware of that. And gradually, because of this mindfulness of these mental states, fear and hate, the cruelty and harming state or harming thoughts will gradually diminish, because you are not committing it at all, but you are taking control over it by observing, knowing that this is happening to me, and the sensation that occur in yourself, you become more sensible or sensitive to your own sensations or feelings that has created or that has arisen in you. Now, this is, you don't have to believe me, but you can be mindful of any moment or any situation when you see any creatures, or let's say, and I believe that plenty of people scared of a cockroach, whereas when I saw on the movies, the first time there was a lady in a kitchen running after what's called running away, having seen the cockroaches, and then I felt, what going on here? Why she is so afraid of the cockroach? Because when I was young, we play with the cockroaches in Nepal. We see cockroaches all the time, and we didn't feel of any scare. We didn't feel of any frightening from there at all, like that. And same thing, if you look at your own kitchen and if you see any insects, before you're hitting or before you are reacting to those creatures, you can watch your mental state, you can watch your fear, you can watch your hate, and then see that why you are creating this hate towards this creature, why you're having a fear over this creature, because this creature is not going to cause any trouble to you at all, and very tiny, and you can use any tools or anything to eradicate it immediately, even like crushing it or hitting it or even taking it away. So these, if you look at your mental state carefully, then you see what's going on in your mind, and then the more you become aware of it, mindful of it, then you see the kindness and compassion gradually generates. And this kindness and compassion that generated will last longer. And from that small creature that you have created or cultivated, this kindness and compassion, you can extend it to other people, other animals as well, other creatures as well. And this sense, later, as you develop in that way, when you see other people suffering, or when you see other people behaving badly, or particularly behaving badly towards you, at that moment, rather than you creating or having this fear and hatred towards other people, there generate your mental state will transform from that fear and hate to compassion and feeling of kindness, thinking that, oh, this person doesn't know the consequences of the action that they have done to you, done to me. If they have known the consequences of their actions, they would not commit that action at all. And with this, and gradually what happens is you're channeling your kindness towards other people, and you are practicing kindness towards other people's bad action or bad behavior, and wishing them that they know that they are such in trouble and such in a harmful state of the mind, and they are so deluded, so unhappy, they are very sad. So that sort of a mental state will develop, and with this, what happens that the sense of a brotherhood, so-called, or sense of a humanity creates and generates, and with that there will be no sense of a killing or no sense of a cruelty or harming any beings, but it builds up the harmony and peace and kindness and compassion will be promoted. And these, again, not because you want to promote it, not because you want to develop those things, but these will automatically comes, these automatically develops on the basis of your mental state, that you've been so mindful, so aware, and so conscious about your every action that you are taking. And that helps to develop this kindness and compassion. Yeah? So that's why this is the one factor that when we have to look at it in the Eightfold Noble Path, which is different from the 5 precepts, whereas in 5 precepts simply not to kill, but practice the kindness. And so the kindness simply develops in this way, and that we have to be mindful of that. And this is we can develop in this way. So that's why in the Eightfold Noble Path, the factor for not killing is quite deeper than what we think. It's very deeper into your own mental state, that the mind, which is combination, or this combination of the akusala chittas, or the mind with the unwholesome state, that causes these action to take. Whereas in the Eightfold Noble Path, the right action of the first component of not killing here is although in a negative form it is talking about the wholesome chittas, or wholesome minds, a mind with a kind heart and a compassionate mind. And with this we become mindful of that state. So the more we become mindful, the greater the kindness and compassion will develop. And in that moment, we don't have to think whether am I practicing kindness or not, whether am I practicing compassion or not. And this is simply a practice. You are knowing your mental state, and how you're having this hate or fear, and being mindful of that mental state, everything will fall in it. Nevertheless, there may be a question arises that if this is about not killing, so should every Buddhist be a vegetarian? And in terms of this becoming a vegetarian, I think it's not a necessary, and it is not a compulsory either. Because becoming a vegetarian or non-vegetarian is not related to not killing at all. Killing and being a non-vegetarian is two different things. Or being a vegetarian and killing, also two different things too. It doesn't go along with it. And in relation to that, we have to go back and only study what does mean by killing, which has got the 5 components or 5 principles to fulfill in order to kill one beings. And being a vegetarian doesn't mean that you will not be killing any beings at all. Having said that, normally every year for 3 months I do practice vegetarian, but doesn't mean that I'm not promoting a vegetarian. But vegetarian, if you're taking it as for your health wise or for your comfortable wise, then okay. But do not be extremist on it. So a vegetarian, sometimes people think that particularly being a vegetarian, they normally have a hatred state of the mind towards those who are eating or non-vegetarian, and which is not right state of the mind. If you are generating a hate towards someone who is eating a meat, then someone who is eating a meat doesn't have any hate towards you. Who do you think would be the best, right? So it is the intention, each individual's intention, that counts, not what you eat. And in terms of the spiritual growth or cultivation towards the liberation, whether you are vegetarian or non-vegetarian, it doesn't make any difference at all, because Buddha did eat meat sometimes whenever he was offered as well. And then that's the reason why when the Devadatta asked him about being a vegetarian, strict vegetarian, he simply said that if you can, you practice, but it won't be a rule to any monks, okay, or all monks. So it's how Buddha laid this. And someone may say that I am vegetarian, I'm not killing anyone, but indirectly you're also supporting, because some people argue that although you do not kill, if you're eating, you're indirectly killing, so supporting the farming of this massive farm on animals, and let them kill for you, which is similar to eating vegetarian too. You never know that farmers, how many medicine they use to kill so many insects, and even to keep the food or harvests to keep safety. They have used so much medicines to kill the insects too, and like that. So that's why you're also supporting indirectly too. But it is not the debate, or it is not the subject of concern, but what we have to be mindful that in Buddhism it is your intention that counts, not what you act. If your intention is to kill, and you know that there are categories. I have spoken on the 5 precepts 2 months ago. You can go and listen on this vegetarian or non-vegetarian. And meanwhile, for the Buddhist monk, I normally call Buddhist monk as a Platarian, and I have written an article which you can read in our website as well. So that's why it's there are 5 principles one has to know to fulfill a killing. That starts from that is a being, and breathing beings, and the second, that you have an intention to kill, and you have used the means or ways to kill, and then having done so, the animal being killed, and only then it is categorized as a killing. So that's why killing is not easy. Okay? And when we look at it, and a killing again based on this hatred and a fear that I mentioned, and if you become mindful of that, you eat to survive, not eat to eat something or someone. So my understanding is that doesn't matter what you eat. If you eat to survive, then that's fine. But if you eat to if you eat just to eat, and you're eating with the desire and to eat this or that, then there is a wrong, and it has got the greed and a hatred. So that needs to eliminate from ourselves. Okay, so on this right action, the first component, I will end here with these reflections for tonight, and in a few moments time there will be a chanting and a guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us, and meanwhile you can go to our YouTube channel to listen my previous talks on the different subjects, even the 5 precepts that I have mentioned. And there are categories in the playlists that I have categorized into 4 Noble Truths, or hindrances, practice of a meditation, or 5 precepts, like that. You can choose and watch and listen previous talks as well. So with this, may you all be well and happy. Thank you everyone for listening, and stay safe, take care. May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you, and few moments time we'll see you. If not, then see you tomorrow, hopefully, if nothing change. Right, take care and good night, and see you shortly. Thank you.